Oh, how the left wing in this country have been seriously triggered over the past 24 hours. And not about the likely war crimes committed in Ukraine, the spiralling cost of living crisis, or the growing attempts to erase biological women from society. No. They've reacted hysterically to the government pushing ahead with a long-held promise to sell Channel 4. I know. You and me own Channel 4. Can you believe it? How random and completely unnecessary. Channel 4, home to culturally enriching shows like Open House, The Great Sex Experiment and Naked Attraction, owned by taxpayers.
Deep in the English countryside is a unique retreat.
Oh, wow!
Where committed couples can open up their relationships.
It is our first time doing anything like this.
With the help of the retreat's liberated residents.
It's just natural to have sex with multiple people.
In this dating show, we go back to basics. Are you ready?
Bring on.
And start where a good date often ends. Naked.
Such an arrangement might have made sense in the world of terrestrial television when Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister, looking to provide an edgy, daring and, yes, politically neutral alternative to the BBC and ITV. But in the world of streaming, YouTube, podcasts and multi-channel telly, it's an insane and outdated anathema. So why are the left so triggered? Well, I'll tell you in a second. But let's just enjoy some of the crocodile tears for a moment, eh? Bitter Ramona, Alistair Campbell, was true to form. He tweeted, "The Channel 4 move is right out of the Orban playbook and time to make it blatant. Part of their purpose is to wind up Liberals." And the disgraced former Labour MP, Claudia Webb, not sure we should listen to Claudia about anything, but she's written, "The government has just confirmed its intention to privatise Channel 4. This is not freedom or independence, it's the seedbed of fascism." And then there's Labour's Deputy Angela Rayner, who raged, "This is cultural vandalism from a government that's run out of ideas, run out of road, and has no interest in levelling up." Look, I tend to think if Rayner thinks you're doing something wrong, then Boris Johnson and Nadine Dorries are almost certainly on the right track. But look, the left are actually so triggered because over the past couple of decades, Channel 4 has morphed from what it was meant to have been under Thatcher and become a blatantly left-wing broadcaster. Its news service, until just a few weeks ago, fronted by F the Tories' Jon Snow, is the most biased broadcaster in the country. But what's so dangerous is it operates under the ridiculous pretense of impartiality. Look, I'm not an impartial broadcaster. I don't pretend to be. You know what I think about everything I talk about, and you can judge what I have to say knowing where I come from. I'm proud that I'm honest about what I think, but have guests from across the spectrum to provide impartiality. But as a public service broadcaster owned by the government, Channel 4 has a responsibility to be impartial, not just act impartial, they must be impartial, and they have failed on every count. There are too many examples to mention because the left-wing bias is fused into every nook and cranny of Channel 4. But of course, some of the most high-profile include the station's most senior news executive for years and years, Dorothy Byrne, slamming Boris Johnson as a known liar and a coward, and scandalously, I think, comparing him to Vladimir Putin.
Here is what we all need to decide. What do we do when a known liar becomes our Prime Minister? And just this weekend, we read that the cowardy cats in the Tory party may stop junior ministers from going onto the Today programme. Boris Johnson has been proclaimed by Downing Street as the first social media PM. On taking office, he recorded a jolly statement. So much more fun than being grilled by Emily Maitlis or Jon Snow. It reminded me of something, and at first, I couldn't think what it was. And then it came to me. This great flag bearer for democracy, Vladimir Putin, who also likes to directly speak to the nation.
Oh, Dorothy, please. And during the 2019 election campaign, they replaced Boris with a melting block of ice during a debate about climate change.
Kept the invitations open to the leaders of the Conservative Party and the Brexit Party. They have not taken up their places yet. Instead, a reminder, the ice caps are melting as politicians around the globe fail to cut greenhouse gas emissions in time to stop rising temperatures.
This is the best, though. This is how this so-called impartial broadcaster marked the exit poll that election night in 2019 when they discovered Boris had won a landslide and would finally be able to deliver Brexit.
So, it's 10 o'clock. The voting has ended in this sudden Christmas general election. Has Boris Johnson pulled it off and secured a majority? Well, that's what the exit poll is saying. Boris Johnson has gambled and won. He has purged his party and still come out on top with a majority.
Gridlock over Brexit happening, barring a national emergency, in between now and the 31st of January, on the 31st of January.
And there we are. That is an absolutely extraordinary result.
I just watch that clip anytime I'm feeling down. Now, Channel 4 were told to move out of the London Champagne socialist bubble. But, you know, they never properly relocated to Leeds, with most staff refusing to leave the capital altogether. Now, look, Leftwing has gone mad over the past 24 hours. I've been accused of celebrating journalists losing their jobs since the announcement of this sale. What absolute baloney. If Channel 4 is as good as it says it is, then it will survive and actually thrive in the private sector. Though I have found all of this reaction slightly ironic, given how lefty journalists at Channel 4 openly celebrated when I lost my job, alongside hundreds of brilliant journalists back in 2011 when the News of the World shut. And it's these same hypocrites who have openly willed GBNews to fail from the off, expressing glee and delight with our little troubles at launch, and actively encouraging an ad boycott. But I repeat, Channel 4 should thrive as a commercial broadcaster competing in the market just as GBNews is doing. What has made absolutely zero sense was a government continuing to own a far-left tally channel masquerading as a public service broadcaster in 2022.